I'm just letting you know we are. That's all, Dick. Sorry. Not trying to be bossy.
Okay, we're all set.
All right. All right, so I'll introduce you and then say I just want to bring up two things.
Yeah, of
We'll
course.
Get right into it. Because Homicide's always treated me so good.
Is that mine?
That's yours, that's ours, and that's mine.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
watch your clock. We're gonna hit it.
Hi, welcome to the Ring and All of the Sports. My name is Leo Connors and I'm your host. And tonight I got a very special guest. I got Proving Grounds Todd Graham.
Hey.
Todd, thanks for coming on.
Oh, you
Be a
know.
Third time.
Third time's a charm.
Great. Be right back. Guys, just want to say a few things here. Yesterday in New York, Homicide, they put on a show, Game Changer Wrestling, sorry. Put on a show, tribute to Homicide for his 25 years in the business. I just want to say thanks for always being nice to my family. You've done so much for the wrestling business. And I know you're not retiring, so I'm looking forward to the next 25 years. Thanks, brother. And also, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker, 1984 Olympic gold medalist boxer from the United States, was killed and hit by a car. Yes, last night, passed away. He's former multiple-time welterweight champion. To me, he was the greatest defensive fighter I've ever seen, and that includes Muhammad Ali. And on September 10th of 1993, he was the victim of one of boxing's biggest robberies as he fought Julio Cesar Chavez in San Antonio, Texas, at the Alamo Dome, and was robbed. You know, they called it a draw, and he was robbed. That's all I got to say about that.
Can't let it go to the judges.
No. Rest in peace, Sweet Pea. All right, Todd, got that out of the way. We've already done the get to know you interview a long time ago. So
you could get to know me all over again. You want, you know?
No, but you know that there's a topic that you wanted to talk about.
Couple, in fact.
Okay,
yeah.
great. The first thing I want to say is before we talk about it, it's going to be about trained wrestlers, untrained wrestlers.
Yes.
Just my personal opinion only.
Yeah.
I go to shows to see trained professional wrestlers. I've probably seen untrained professional wrestlers and like them. Not saying that. I only say this because if I know they're untrained, I don't want to see it because I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
Okay.
You know, it's not that I don't want to see it because, F them, I don't like them. It has nothing to do with that.
Sure.
It has to do with I don't want to see anybody get hurt. And I believe wrestling is dangerous enough with two trained professionals.
Oh, absolutely. All right, so before we really dive into this, and I know we're not going to spend the whole time on this.
No, definitely not.
But I just want to say first and foremost, anybody who's listening to this, please understand that I'm coming from a place that absolutely, if you want to become a professional wrestler, find a school. New England Pro Wrestling Academy, WAR, a number of other schools you can go to. There's a lot in this
Test your
area. Absolutely. In New England, in this area alone, this is a hotbed for that kind of thing. And
especially right now.
But I'm going to say something that I don't think anybody has said when this topic comes up.
Okay.
And that is the term training and trained is subjective.
Okay.
And the reason why I say it like that is because I know people that spent, they did it the right way. They paid the money.
Right.
They took the ride. They went to the training school. And they got better, and they learned how to do it safely and not hurt anybody, and also to be good and be entertaining. At the same time, I know people who have never stepped foot in a wrestling school that have put on incredible performances as if they did because they learned as they went on the road.
Right.
Not the most advised method to go. I think everybody that ever gets anywhere near a wrestling ring should at least learn enough of the basics not to die and kill somebody.
Right.
Of course. But at the same time, I've also seen people that have been in wrestling schools for years that still suck.
Yep.
So it's
That's
like
true.
it's really and I say it's subjective because and Mary McDumbass.
Yeah, I didn't write
He
it down,
didn't-
but yeah, Mary McCheese. Just want to know why you booked two certain people.
Yes, the two certain people that he keeps harping
Yes.
at are Derek Conway
Yes.
and Delilah Hayden.
And Delilah is coming on August 22nd, 26th, and I'm looking forward to that. I
Yeah,
am.
no,
In a good way.
yes, and I'm not going to tell their story here,
Right.
but those two and a number of others had a really bombshell of a weekend, and hopefully it's a step in the right direction for them.
Awesome.
That's
great.
that's where my heart is. But a lot of people, especially the phony baloney nonsense trolls, always like to bring up like, why do you use Derek Conway and why do you use Delilah Hayden? And they're untrained and they're terrible and they're this and they're that. And it's like, if they're untrained and they're terrible, how come they're getting bookings every weekend?
There you go. Yeah.
How come they're on more shows than I've been on? And let me ask you something. I asked you this in a chat a couple weeks back, and I didn't tell you why. I said, have you ever seen my work? Me, personally.
Yes, and I did. I've seen a couple matches of you.
Yeah, you've seen my work. I think you mentioned that you saw me wrestle Dan Terry for
Yes.
RWA at one point.
Yep.
What did you think?
I thought it was good. I thought you were a really good wrestler.
Okay.
I've actually seen clips that you put up too before,
Yeah.
and you're good. Now you've trained though.
I went to 2 wrestling schools
Nice.
for a combined less than 20 days.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so in the world of professional wrestling, I am not a trained wrestler.
Okay.
And for years, I went to Chaotic back in 2004 when Killer was still alive, but instructing from outside the ring,
Right.
and like Warbeard and Andre Lyons were in
Yeah.
the ring. I was only there for a short period of time, cup of coffee, maybe 1 or 2 months, but it was like 1 day a week.
Right.
And then a year or so went by, and I wound up over at Maverick Wild's place.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun, and I liked being there. And there is a story as to why I left,
Okay.
and it's the same thing. It's the same reason why I do what I do now with the business. It's because I don't like the mentality that some people have.
Right.
And I was given an ultimatum over the phone before coming to class one day, where I was basically told straight up, you can either screw around with your friends, or you can have the business, but you can't have both.
Right. And you chose your friend.
I chose my friends. Fast forward 10 years, I've got everything I ever wanted, and that guy's name has been erased from wrestling. So
Right.
wherever you are, brother, thanks for the advice. So, like I said, and everything is subjective. I didn't like the feeling that it was giving me, and I took the longer road.
Yep.
I learned most of what I know now. I learned a lot of what I know now in those less than 20 days.
Right. I was going to ask you that.
I-
What do you think you learned?
In the first day, I believe it was Jamie Jimikowski was there because it was
Okay.
the weekend of Cold Fury 4.
All right.
And we were doing drills to go out of the ring backwards over the top rope.
Yep.
And I did it, and Jamie goes, "Did you sign the waiver?" I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Sign another one." All right, because apparently it looked pretty bad. But I was there for a very short time. I learned a lot of the basics. And then when I went to Mav, I came in with that knowledge.
Right.
And he refined it more. And I think I was only I think Mav said it on when he was here that I was only there for 3 months or so, something like that. Might even be less. But once again, 1 day a week.
Right. Right.
So, I could have done a whole lot more.
Right. Right.
But at the same time, I don't think I've hurt anybody.
Right.
If I've ever been hurt, it's because of my own, I'm 300 something pounds and I do the backflip. And the same can be said about Conway and Delilah, because, and if I think I don't have my statistics here or
Right.
anything or the information, and they can correct me later, but if you count seminars, and I do,
Yeah, that's learning. It definitely is learning.
I think you learn every time you get into the ring, whether it's with somebody better than you or not. You're learning something. Seminars count. I would honestly say that Delilah and Dennis arguably have more training than I do.
Right. Okay.
But nobody gives me any garbage.
Right.
Not anymore.
But okay, now on that, looking at it like that, not everybody works the same.
That's
Like
true.
I know for a fact at my work, I got 2 guys that work for me, and neither one of them work the way I like to work.
Yeah.
All right. And I can't expect anybody to do that. Some people pick things up quicker
Yeah.
than others too.
This is true.
You know what I mean? I do want to say one thing real quick. When you brought that story up, they were talking about on For the Pops today about someone not signing a waiver. And it might have been you.
Maybe.
It might have been you.
Might have been me. But no, I signed 2 waivers, in
Oh,
fact.
okay. So you did sign them. All right.
Yes. So that wasn't a joke. They made me put
Right.
pen to paper.
Right.
But no, but here's the argument. It's a lot of people, training is subjective, and I'll give you a perfect example, right?
Yep.
Every wrestling promotion that I've ever worked for, I email them, hey, my name is so-and-so, I would like to work for your promotion.
Yep.
They ask me, how long you been in the business?
Yep.
How many matches you've had? That comes up every once in a while. Who trained you? What school? What this? What that? And it's literally, they put you against the wall and ask you all these questions, and they have the right to, because, well, when it comes to this kind of stuff, you're putting your life and their life in your hands. Let me ask you something. In your entire life, you've gone to a doctor since you were a baby, right?
Oh yeah, I go to one regularly, man. I'm a union worker. I got a doctor.
Let me ask you. let me ask you something. Have you ever asked your doctor for their credentials, or have you taken their word for it?
Not once. Not once.
All right. So
Constantly, I take their word for it.
when it comes to the world of professional wrestling entertainment, everybody, they want to know your social security
Yep.
number, your blockbuster number, but the guy who sticks his thumb up your ass to make sure you're healthy, you don't ask any questions.
Nope, none.
All right, so this is the world we live in. So once again, every time you go out there, you're getting training in some form or another.
Right.
Every seminar, every day you walk into a wrestling school, it's very subjective. You know what's more old school than wrestling schools?
What's that?
Not being trained. Wrestling came from being dragged out of the crowd at a carnival.
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
so
Yep.
but anyway, once again, I'm saying go get trained, go to school.
Yep.
Do it the right way, do it the safe way. But always remember, every school will teach you different stuff.
Yes.
The hammerlock was different at Mavs than it was at Chaotic, and I'm sure it would be different at War.
Right. Or Bob Evans.
Or Bob Evans.
Yep.
Or at Slam Tech. Yep.
Yep.
Everything
Or
is
Slick.
everything is different.
Right.
Everything is subjective.
Yep.
And you really got, and whoever's really harping, and I know the guy's a troll, but if you're really harping on Dennis and Delilah, you really got to let it go.
Right.
You know, because they're still getting booked. They're
they
still
are.
doing well. In fact,
You have him booked coming up on August 31st, correct?
he's going to be in our main event against our champion, Mike Montero.
The ace.
So,
Yep. Well, you believe in him.
you can. I
believe
have
it.
produced.
That's good.
I've produced him more
Yep.
than anybody else has.
Right.
I've given him more leeway and more faith than anybody else has, and he hasn't really disappointed me.
Right.
So, and he hasn't hurt anybody.
Yeah. And I want to tell you on last note before we move on for this. When I explained this situation to my girlfriend when it was all unfolding and stuff. And I told her this, and this is exactly how I feel, and I told Delilah this. I do not want to hurt, her career to be hurt. I'm hoping that when she goes to her next show, she'll grab a veteran and say, hey, I was thinking, can you help me out? That's all. You know what I mean? I wasn't looking for people to stop booking her. I was hoping that on her own, as she goes to shows from now on, she reaches out to people. That's all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And,
And hopefully she is. And that'd be great. She'll be able to tell me.
and I saw what this whole stemmed with, and I'm sure that she'll tell that story
Right.
when she's on here, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to waste any time.
No,
on it.
no, right, exactly.
But I knew exactly what she meant.
Right.
But I also can say, and I love you, sweetheart. You know that I come from a good place when I say this.
Right.
Delilah is not the best with words at times. And
Okay.
like, the same thing is if I have an idea in my head and I
Yeah.
tell you a piece of it,
Right.
in my head, I'm kind of expecting you to be able to see what I see, but
Yeah.
that's not how it is.
Right.
I had already heard this conversation from her. I knew exactly what she meant
Right.
about not going to
Yep.
get more help. But yeah, she'll tell that story when she's on here. And I'm,
And also, when you read something too, there's two ways to read it. You can read anything in a nice way.
Oh, for
or
sure.
you can take it like, whoa, what's, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And most people will take anything like that the wrong way, automatically.
oh yes, absolutely.
Automatically. So, but like you said, we'll have her on August 26th, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, she'll be a good guest.
Oh, absolutely. So now I want to talk to you about this. This is awesome. You ran a show, your first show in Peabody.
Yes.
Okay, and that was level 3?
Yeah, that was March 16th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you ran in the same city as someone else. You booked your show first.
Yep.
And then Liberty States decided to run
Yep.
that same night.
Yes.
Right. And you had 225 ticket sales.
It was about that.
And
Yeah.
the other one had considerable less. And this isn't out to bury the other company. It's to praise you for your hard work then. To get 225 people in a building in a new town
Yeah.
It's pretty damn good, Todd. Honestly, it is.
You know, and we can once again. I will never disrespect the efforts of the men and women who work for the other promotion.
Exactly.
Their leader, obviously, him and I don't get along.
Right.
You and him don't get along.
Nope.
And I don't even need to say his name because
Right.
I've done enough of it.
And everybody knows anyways.
And not only that, but at the same time, it's just like we were talking about with Mayor McCheese.
Yeah.
If you don't feed the trolls, they will starve.
Exactly.
And I haven't heard from him in a while. However, unfortunately, there was a minor situation with our ring announcer for the evening coming up in August, Adam Salzer.
Right.
And I'm going to go on the record. It's not my story to tell, but I'm going to go on the record and say that he was absolutely disrespected by someone who said he was his friend.
Wow. That's too bad.
Over a business decision that wasn't going to hurt anything.
Right. That's too bad.
And that's it.
Because Adam's a nice guy. I don't know Adam very well. Like, you probably know him better than I do.
He's a very
but
nice guy.
He is a nice guy. He definitely is a nice guy. But so tell me, did you have any issues coming up to the show?
In March?
Yes.
I mean, the obvious stuff with having to run against a show in the same town no more than 12 minutes away.
Right.
I mean, that was obviously a fear.
Yep.
We were
Yep.
worried. We went to market first. We had it booked first anyway,
Right.
but we went to market first with the advertising. So there were probably some people that bought tickets to our show,
Right.
not knowing the other show was
Yeah,
coming, because I
yeah.
don't think it got announced until maybe a month beforehand.
Right. Well, that's one other thing I do want to bring up real quick, because it's going to go with this, what you're talking about. Did you reach out to him at all before you were running?
Yes.
Okay. Because I think that's something that you would do. I know you would. So.
Yeah, I mean, we could get into
tried.
it. We could get. Yes, at the moral of the short version of the story
Yeah.
is, at least I can say I tried.
Right.
No, I reached out at the beginning, and once again, I'm not going to bury or
Yeah,
dig
yeah,
up any
yeah.
old bones,
No,
but
I want to know this story. That's
I reached
all
out
about-
I reached out to the gentleman who runs Liberty States, and I said, "Hey, I wanted to tell you I didn't want you to hear it from anybody else. I'm going to be
Did it the
running
right
a show
way.
in Peabody." They asked me,
Yeah.
you know, that because one of my relatives, my aunt, works at the Knights of Columbus.
Okay.
They asked me. I said, "Are we cool?"
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, no problem, not a big deal. We sell two different things." Okay.
Okay.
I knew what he meant, but at the same time, I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
That would have been in August of last year. So around a month from today last
Okay.
year.
So many
March.
many,
It was
yeah,
summertime. I was planning for
exactly.
winter. In October, as I'm getting ready to go in and run my the level 2 show,
Yeah.
you know, I get a message from him, and he's all of a sudden not cool with it. And I'm not going to put any words in his mouth. I'm
Yep.
not going to say anything that he said, because it's nobody else's business but
Yep.
him and us. But it really felt like he was trying to make me change my mind, change the date, not run in Peabody.
Right.
And it was based on, you know, he was brought up a certain way, and that's perfectly fine. But my theory is it's not 1970 anymore.
Right.
There's no such thing as territory
No,
anymore.
there isn't.
I wasn't trying to run in his building. I was
Right,
trying to
right.
run in my own building.
Yep.
And if I was trying to run at the school, oh, absolutely.
Right.
I would expect heat, and I would
Yeah,
understand.
because you already know that's not a good thing. And as a fan, I know how you are. I knew you must have reached out to him.
Yeah, no,
because that's not your style to try to do it the other way.
I have a hard time sleeping at night
Right.
when I take shortcuts, and
Yep.
it sucks, you know. And sometimes I have to take shortcuts for time purposes, and I hate it every time.
Okay.
You know, but I feel, in my opinion, obviously coming from me, I'm obviously the hero in this story. If he tells it, he
Yeah.
is, you know,
Right.
and back and forth. But to me, I tried to reason with him.
Yep.
He didn't want to. He was very smug and insulting to me.
That's how he talks to people.
I know, and that's the thing. I was trying to figure, it's like, does he know he's doing this? Well, I'm sure he does.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm absolutely sure he
100%.
does. But, you know, so I tried, and then, you know, it was a mess up until show day, and everybody on the crew was just like, dude, ignore him.
Yeah.
And I tried my best, and I did.
Right.
And we got to the day of the show, and apparently he had some people call out of his show last minute.
Okay.
One particular person, because it was their 10th anniversary show,
Right.
they got a big returning name,
Yeah.
D.L. Hurst.
Right. Right.
And DL, for whatever reason, I don't know if he double booked himself, or I know he was coming back from an injury, so I don't think he got hurt. But I
Right.
think it was he might have been on a show, and it happens, scheduling conflict. So he couldn't make the show. He calls one of the guys working on my show and says, hey, I know you're in town. I had a couple call outs. Would you be willing to do a double? Now, I'd already had one person on my show that I knew was going to leave immediately to go over there, because why the hell not? It's a 12-minute drive.
Exactly.
Make
And
your
they
money.
can get 2 paydays.
Make your money.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Again, you're the bigger man on things like that.
It's like, when am I going to go? No.
Right. No,
I'm not going to do that, because that's hurting the boys.
Right.
And to his credit, and I won't say this person's name, but he comes to me and asks, would that be okay?
Right. That's another great way.
That's good business.
Yes.
He came to me and asked, and he also says, like, I hadn't talked to this guy, the guy.
Yeah.
It's like, I hadn't talked to this guy in years, and I think we ended on a bad note. And I said, go across town.
Yep.
Make your money. Make your money.
That's
and,
good, Tom.
and maybe you'll patch up whatever was bad years ago, and then that's another cool thing you can get out of this night. He did the match. He was our opener. He did the match. He left. He did the match with them. He came back to make sure he could sell merch because he had to miss halftime, unfortunately. But he came back, so...
Came back to where he most likely wanted to be in the first place.
Well, it's where he was booked first.
but I like that, though, honestly, because, I don't know you wicked good, Tom, but I can already tell that you're a good person. So, and I knew that from the first day I met you.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say about this particular guy, he was getting ready to run a show in New Hampshire with Brian Malonis.
Yes, I actually attended that show. I did. Because it was in New Hampshire. I had to.
The day it was happening, I was in Bristol, Rhode Island with NCW, and I had heard something that really bothered me. It was something that I had heard that he assumed about me. So I messaged him immediately. I said, first things first, this thing that you may assume that I had something to do with, I didn't.
Right.
And secondly, I know you got a big show coming up tonight. I just want to wish you good luck.
Nice.
He responded back to me with, your well wishes don't mean anything to me. And you can keep, and I said, all right, I'll keep them to myself, but know they're there.
Yeah.
That's it.
There you go. Good for you.
I-
Seriously.
And the thing is, I'm painting this. Look, there were plenty of times during this story where I wanted to pull whatever was left of my hair out about everything. I'm not going to pretend I'm this super nice guy about it. I was very angry about the whole thing, but what could I do?
Right.
Just persevere.
Right. And as it's over now and everything, you did a great job. That's all I want to say. That's why I brought it up
Everything is
originally,
just
too,
noise
though.
the next morning.
Right. You
all
did a
it is.
great job. And you're running there again Saturday night, August 31st, and we'll plug that in a minute. But let's get to the fan questions. 'Cause these guys are probably, 20 minutes in, and they're like,
We're never going to get to the name game ever. I talk too much.
All right. Big Bear Matooch wants to know, and I like this question, who are your artistic and musical role models? Because I'm like you, I'm into music. I don't play. I like to sing.
The name you'll know would be John Mayer.
Okay. Yeah.
Love his music, love the style. He likes a lot of love music, and
Okay.
that's kind of
Yeah,
where
he does.
that's kind of where I've always been. I write spiteful love music.
Okay.
Another guy you might not know the name, but you've definitely heard the hit. That guy's name is Justin Curry.
Yep.
Australian guitar player, bass player. He was in the band Delamitri. They had one big hit over here called "Roll to Me."
Okay.
You'll hear it in your dentist office the next time you're there. It was.
I hope so.
He actually said in an interview, he's like, that one song is still paying for everything in my life. Never mind the 20 other albums that I've done.
Right.
Imagine doing that. Imagine like Steamboat and Savage. Use that for the example.
Great match.
Steamboat and Savage have arguably one of the best matches
Yeah.
in wrestling / WrestleMania history.
Yes.
Steamboat had a lot of great other matches.
Of course.
So did Savage. But what's the
Exactly.
first one that gets mentioned?
Yeah. The one that they had after they each had 5,000 matches.
You know how annoyed Metallica is that they have to keep playing Enter Sandman at every show? Yeah, no, it's like that. You have that one hit, and and you have to kind of live on that. So, but for him, it's like it's paid for everything.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you about one guy. I don't think you probably do already know. You know the band Blue October?
Not offhand.
No? But he writes songs kind of like dark and dreary about relationships and things like that. I like the guy. I do. I was surprised. I thought you would have liked him. All right, Derek Conway wants to know, 5 years plan for Proving Ground.
Well, obviously, be successful.
Right.
That would be my goal. I would like a better online presence. I would obviously like better attendance at shows.
Right.
I don't like you see a lot of promotions they run every month.
Yeah.
And I feel like it becomes less special when you have to do that all the time.
Right.
I like the idea of you can run a big show maybe every 2 months or even quarterly,
Okay.
something like that. But the way everything is, the way internet and content and this and that, you can't really get away with that.
Right.
You got to keep pushing stuff out. I think successful would be good. I would like to see the people that I have now.
Yep.
And this is going to be weird to say because if this happens, then I kind of lose them.
Right.
But I said the people that I have now, I want them to get to a point where they're getting looked at.
Right.
You know,
That's a good thing to
if
want.
if Mike Montero isn't getting a better look in 5 years, it's
Right.
criminal.
Oh, he will.
If Derek
Guaranteed. He's a
Conway,
great worker.
if Derek Conway, with the way he's decided to move forward with
Yep.
his wrestling, isn't somewhere above
Right.
where we're at,
He will be. If you work
it'll
hard
be
enough,
it'll be
definitely.
criminal. And
Yep.
guys like Sean Leader and Dick Lane
Right.
and Tom Billington and King Leone and all these names,
Right.
they can all be something.
Yep.
And I want that for them.
Right.
That is the reason why I do these things.
Yep.
And I want to be able to A, put on a good show, B, put out some good content. C, I'm running on borrowed time personally, and I get to work with these guys.
Right.
Physically, I mean. I'll always be behind the camera.
Yeah.
But I want them to succeed because if they succeed, it feels like I've done something good too. And I can live vicariously through them
Yeah,
and move
absolutely.
on to the next crop of guys.
Right.
Like we've got a young kid right now, AJP. He's only 17.
AJ Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's only 17.
Dude, I couldn't believe it. He's going to be a senior, correct?
Yes.
Like next year. Same age as my youngest. It's
Yeah.
like crazy. And kid's pretty good, man.
17 years
Kid
old.
is pretty good.
He's working for XWA right
Right.
now, and XWA, despite what people may think I think about them, it's mostly a joke.
Right.
It's mostly me ball busting.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, XWA is one of the top promotions in the area,
Absolutely.
and he's there every week.
Yep.
And he's killing it.
Right.
Same thing with guys like King Leon.
Right.
So it's like
And now is Montero there too?
XWA.
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay.
But
I have seen.
I don't
seen
have
him
enough
wrestle.
fingers to count all the places that he works.
Right,
so
right.
I don't.
Exactly. Yeah. He's all over the place. That's
Yeah.
why I figured he might be there too.
Yeah.
But those are great. And that's a good little plug for him too. The Thursday night throwdowns.
Yep.
And around here, lots of wrestling is starting to become weekly. Honestly, with the Beyond and
Chaotic
then that,
I think chaotic. They're doing the elevated
they did a
tapers?
Thursday one night. They did run a Thursday one night.
Yeah.
When they first started, when they announced they were going to do the elevated. If I'm not mistaken, and Brian, don't kill me if I'm wrong, but I thought maybe the first elevated was from one of their Thursday shows. I could be 100% wrong though, believe me.
But yeah, the model is changing.
Right. Exactly.
And it within the next 5 years, to continue the answer to that
Yes.
question, I don't necessarily want to follow what everyone's doing,
Okay.
but at the same time, I know what's going to work and I know what's successful.
Yep.
And if that is working, then that's what I'll do.
Nice. Excellent. He also has one more question. Fantasy opponents. I don't know if he meant independent, contracted guys or whatever, but if you want to give us one of both, that would be kind of cool.
I mean, we
Yeah.
could. I like to deal in things that I think I can get done.
So a couple indie guys.
Locals.
Yeah.
There's a handful. Scott Levesque
Okay.
is definitely near the top of my list.
Right.
I came really close. It was really close to
Really?
happening in NCW.
He's
We
good.
were going to
He's a
run
good
something,
wrestler.
but I don't know what the deal is. I haven't seen him at NCW in a while.
He's in a good tag team too. Right.
Yeah.
The Bitter Club with
Yes.
Buddy Romano.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Scott Levesque. Obviously, I want to work with my partner again, Dick Lane.
Yeah.
Bullet Joe would be fun. Just because he's like so much smaller than I am, but he can go.
Good, man. He sure can go.
He's sitting under the JT Dunn learning tree.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
he could throw an elbow, I'll tell you.
Small guy, man. He's very impressive.
Oh,
He
yeah.
is.
Well, that's the thing. I was like, I'm going to have to crush him to be able to continue the because I'm not going to keep up with him. I worked with Malonis. That was great. I got a chance to work with Stiff Mike, which, and Mike will understand when I say this, not something that's on everybody's bucket list.
Right.
But I saw him for the first time in
It was for you, though.
1999, and when I was finally in a situation where I could do it, I'm like, I got the story.
Yeah.
Because I had heard for years that he had been rough with a bunch of people, friends of mine that had gotten in the ring before me.
Right.
And I'm like, this is an opportunity.
Yeah.
So I went up to him. I said, I got a great story, and we rolled with it for a couple months, and then I started waning back on my dates as a wrestler. I
Right.
do production for a lot of places, but yeah, I was able to check that one off. I would have always wanted to have gotten in the ring with Maverick,
Yeah.
just because he had a hand, and he's kind of responsible for this, which would explain why he wasn't so happy when my name came up. No. But yeah, those are the ones that are off the top of Mike Montero again.
Yeah.
I worked with Montero once, and when it was over, I never wanted to leave wrestling. And then I wrestled somebody else shortly thereafter, and I wanted to quit the business. So a good opponent will do wonders for you.
Mike King, back when I first met him, he was a scary guy, and he even admitted when he came on the show one of the times that he's definitely not the same person he used to be.
Oh, certainly
You
not.
know?
Not from the stories.
And I'm not either, and I'm sure you're not. You know what I mean? It's
I'll tell you a funny
good.
story, and he's going to be
Mike's
really
a great guy.
He's going to be really upset that I'm telling this. It was after one of our altercations on an APW show.
Okay.
The first time we had done anything, the first time we'd even touched, he busted me open somewhere. Might have been my nose, something. I was bleeding. No, he kicked me in the ribs and lost all my wind. The next time, he hit me with a really stiff shot and maybe bloodied my nose, something. There was blood, a little bit. And in the locker room, I walked back, and he looks like upset. And I walked back. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, dude, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, don't you apologize to me. Every story I've ever heard about you is you're a prick. Don't you apologize to me. Don't ruin this for me.
Right.
But no, we had a chance to get a one-on-one in, which I was happy about. And I think there'll be more. I think there'll be more to the story, but I'm currently kind of taking some time.
I feel that he's underappreciated around here. I really do. He's a great wrestler. He's a great worker. I love the Apocalypse thing he did years ago. That was incredible. But
That's funny. People in the ring didn't.
I did.
No.
He looked. I'll be honest. He looked stiff back then, and maybe, obviously stiff Mike. But honestly, he's always been nice to me. But he used to scare me when he wasn't nice.
It's a perfect example of truth in advertising.
Right.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right. So, David Baker, I don't even know if this is really a question. I like that you give everyone a chance to shine, especially the younger guys. Oh, here there is. What would be the reasons you wouldn't book or use certain guys or girls? It's a great question coming off the other pod.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what I mean?
absolutely. When I opened PG, I felt like my options were limited.
Yep.
Because I had run projects before this.
Right.
With just my boys.
Yep.
Most of which were untrained.
Right.
Started PG on a whim, and I can tell that story before we finish up because
Okay.
it's a good one. Save 5-6
Yeah,
minutes.
no problem.
And I only had two rules. Are they any good in the ring? Are they an asshole?
Right.
Those were the two rules.
Yep.
It's like, if you're good in the ring and you're not a jerk,
Right.
we'll let you through the door.
Come on down.
There are some people who unfortunately fail those criteria.
Absolutely.
But for the most part, everybody that I've seen is respectful, and like the young guns, the guys like Deshaun, like Hot Shot Deshaun, Hot Coco is the tag team, Justin Coco Sylvia, AJP,
Yep.
Jamie Tucker, young guys like that. Add to that list of people I'd like to work with, and it's kind of a deep cut, and I don't. Jam and Jack Connor.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
He just came back to the
Okay.
RWA, and I'm happy that I have the book over there because now I can be like, all right, now I get to see what he can do.
Nice.
And he's that weird kind of thick.
Yep.
Like he's in good shape.
Right.
But he's like this. His body type is this odd type of thick, and so I'd like to work with him. But like you take the young guys, and they're all respectful, and they're all sitting under the learning tree of Mike Baker,
Yep.
Brickhouse, and
Legend. New England legend.
they're learning,
Yep.
and they're better for it. Right. And I very much enjoyed their work, and I hope to see more of it. Nice. And I am going to facilitate booking them as often as I can. So,
Excellent.
we got AJP. He almost made the poster, but he'll be with us in August as well. So.
Right. Nice. All right. Adam Nessel wants to know who's your partner.
Yes. He says I talk too much, which is why he didn't come on the show.
That's fine, because I'd rather have my guests talk more than me, because I talk a lot too.
Yes,
but
you do.
he wants to know, tell us the Brandito Davis fried chicken story. He was here a few weeks ago.
I know.
A few weeks ago.
I know, and honestly, I'm very surprised that that he actually talked about us, because there was he had talked about him and I having heat at
Right.
one point, and it had a lot to do with I was doing the project before PG, which was called Project Zero Wrestling. Go find it on YouTube.
Okay.
It's all there. It's like 100 episodes or something, or less than, whatever. Not important. The longest story is he started with us, and we knew him through Mike Zarba,
Okay.
who was the friend that unfortunately died of a hit and run, and that's part of the story I'll tell later. And Brandino, like, I was part of the issue was we were getting ready to come back and do like a day or two of taping to kind of close it off.
Right.
Because we wanted to do 100 episodes. We thought a nice round number would
Yep.
look good. And or something like that. We asked him if he would come back, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, so I'm obviously paraphrasing, but the general gist of the conversation was, I'm better than that now.
Right.
Because he was training at Bose,
Yeah.
and he'd be right. But at the same time, we were all friends.
Right.
Come back and screw around with us for another
Yeah.
day, whatever.
Why not?
Didn't work out.
Okay.
Anyway, so I didn't see him again for years, and I was not. I mean, we weren't really hanging out all the time
okay.
anyway. But I didn't see him again for years after that, and then we bumped into each other at Nova when they moved to the XWA building, and I was there for the Mike Zarba tournament. At least I thought I was going to be in the tournament. That's
Right.
what I was told, which is why I don't work at Nova anymore, because what I was told never matched up.
Okay.
And I don't even think Nova's running anymore. But Brandino was there.
Yeah.
And we just looked at each other and like, wasn't I mad at you? It's like, why? I'm like, I don't even remember. It's nice to see you.
Exactly.
You know, I don't like to hold grudges
Yep.
for too long. So the fried chicken story.
Yes.
Back when we were running TV tapings for Project Zero Wrestling in Blackheart, before he got what I call the candy store, the really nice building he's got
Yeah.
in Woonsocket, he had a building out in Lincoln. It was basically
Chris Blackheart, correct?
Yes, Chris
Yes,
Blackheart,
yep.
Showcase Pro Wrestling.
Yes.
He had it was like a storage locker. It was
Okay.
a really small, terrible building. But hey, there's a ring in it.
Right.
Let's go film some TV.
Yep.
You know, because the Caroba had closed on us and we couldn't go back there. So one day, Adam's younger brother, Kenny,
Yep.
went out and got lunch and bought fried chicken because there was a place around the corner. Brought it back, ate it, left the bones in the building. Apparently, Blackheart didn't come back to the building for 2 weeks.
Oh no.
So it stank something off.
yeah.
And his wife was the one to find it, and she was pregnant. So she almost caught she's bad enough, her senses are on overload, she caught that smell. Next time we come back is maybe 2 weeks after that, so it's a month since the incident. Blackheart comes in, and I don't know if you know this, but Brandino Davis,
Yeah.
he's a black man.
Yes, I did know
And Chris Blackheart immediately juts past everybody else and gets right in his face about leaving fried chicken in the building. You know,
Yeah.
assuming
Yeah.
it was him.
Oh no.
And boy, was that funny. But the long and short of it was Adam's younger brother, Kenny, who's my drummer.
Yeah.
And he didn't say a word because he likes chaos as well. And it was a good day overall. We smartened up Blackheart, you know.
Yeah.
So whatever. But it was pretty fun.
Well, I told Kenny I wasn't going to ask this, but seeing you brought him up, how many hot dogs did you eat?
Oh Jesus! If you count
There you go, Kenny.
the ride here, I'm probably at 16. There's a really nice hot dog stand like every 5 feet on my travels to
I
work.
know, it's like you hate hot dogs, or you're a big fan?
No,
of
I
hot
love
dogs?
them, man.
Me too. I had some over the weekend.
Well, let me tell you.
Scarlet's.
What?
I like Scarlet's. You know, it's Scotland hot dogs, right?
No?
Oh, dude, they're the best hot dogs, man.
Oh, you're gonna have to give me the
Oh,
information.
absolutely. All right, listen. How about Paul Luciano? First time this guy's ever been mentioned. Not Paul, but Paul.
His coworker,
yes,
yeah, I know.
Why is Jesse Ventura not taken seriously?
It's
First
'cause
time Jesse's been mentioned.
It's because he's been eating thermite paint since the 80s. Something about the Gulf of Tonkin incident. I don't know.
Right.
It's a running gag at the
Okay.
office. Next question.
All right. Adam Salza wants to know, he says, very excited to make my Proving Ground debut on August 31st. What would you say are the high points and low points of starting your own company and your own brand? Great question, Adam.
What's the secret of making $5,000 in the wrestling business?
There isn't one, is
Start with 10.
I'm
I'm happy to say that on the level that I'm doing things, that I don't think I've spent a personal dollar on wrestling in the last 2 or 3 years.
Nice.
or maybe 2 years. 2 years would be more accurate because it was just paying for itself at this point.
Yep.
Wrestling is paying for wrestling. I don't mean the shows necessarily. We
Right.
draw pretty okay sometimes, depending on the building.
Right.
And we don't make a ton of money with that, but I put all the money I make in the wrestling business into it. So anytime I go and do a show and they, I put the hot dog in the money box
Yeah.
because all I get is that in a handshake. But what I've discovered was you can make a lot of money making merch.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's where
I even have shirts.
That's where cards subject to change came from.
Right.
Which is I make trading cards for the boys. So Limitless, for
Which are
instance,
incredible. Just to
Limitless just ordered. They ordered 10 sets of their 72-piece card set for their show that was last Friday. I messaged Randy Carver and I said, "How'd they do?" And he said, "Well, of 120 packs, we only have 30. We need to order more." And I'm just like, "Okay." Wow. So thank you, Randy Carver, for paying for my next show.
Yeah. Nice. That's really good.
But it's like I'm paying for wrestling with wrestling, which is the right way to do it. It's a lot of work in my spare time, but I can handle it.
I want to buy some too, so we'll talk off air. I really do. I thought they were fantastic.
Finding the right people, finding the right place.
Yep.
Finding ways to barter is probably the best thing. Yep. Working with Joe and Mike from APW has been in fact, we're going to be with them July 28th for the Yankee homecoming.
Yep.
We've got and for those of you who, for those of you trolls out there, Derek Conway will be at that show too. So, and of course, our championship will be on the line. Mike Montero versus Stephen Lust of the Middlesex Express.
Excellent.
But yeah, those would be the big things. It's like have a good crew of people.
Yep.
Have a lot of why not people in your life, and not a lot of why people.
Right.
Like, why are we doing this? Why? That gets aggravating.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have a lot of people around you going, I have this idea, and they go, yeah, why not?
Right.
Unless it's going to hurt you personally or financially, go for it. That's
Exactly.
what creativity is all about. But yeah, that's the answer to that.
Excellent. Thanks for the question, Adam. Nathan Fuller, a loyal friend of the show. What do you think of AEW? But you don't watch it, so I'll answer it for you. Pretty damn good. I'm enjoying it so far.
From what I've seen, it's been fun.
Yeah. Nathan, ask something different next time because he's got a lot of the AEW questions. Dave Delafontaine wants to know, what is the best advice for the upstarts and rookies in wrestling?
Retire. No. Pay attention.
Yeah.
You have 2 ears.
Nice.
You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Yeah.
That's something my dad used to say. You've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. So let that be. And 2 nostrils, but I don't know how that works into it. My dad was a kooky cat. Shut up, listen, save your own life.
Yeah.
Save everybody else's life.
All right.
Best advice I can give. And find a good school.
Yep. There you go. Dave, thanks for the question. Dave usually sends in a question. Now, Frankie Hannon, you know Frankie Hannon?
Not offhand.
All right. He says, what has been your most satisfying moment in wrestling? First as a wrestler and then as a promoter.
Doing a backflip off the cage at Elk Mania 6.
The first time?
It's the only time.
Oh, okay.
It's the only time it's the last time.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where Kruger and I had been feuding for 5 years, and it was the best time to put it to sleep.
Right.
We had a good crowd, and I said, look, I was actually asked not to do it, and I said, you're not going to put me in a cage and expect me not to do a backflip off the top of it, because it's the one thing that people book me for. Because for a while there, I've been wrestling. I'm not going to say professionally because I have a real job. But like I had my first match in 2006. I didn't really get noticed by anybody until 2013,
right.
And that's because I was the 300 and something pound guy that did the backflip. That's what got my attention.
Right.
So.
Now, who were you wrestling when you did it off the cage?
Jack Kruger.
Okay, Jack Kruger, yes.
Yes, it was
All
a
right.
wonderful crash mat that night. And the other question was, as a promoter?
Yes, as a promoter.
Level 1. Okay. The second the referee counted 3 and Sean Leader had won our first main event. That was probably my favorite moment.
Nice.
Because, and there's going to be, we're actually, this is breaking news for any PG fans. We're going to be on Independent Wrestling TV.
Oh, nice.
We're going to be streaming with them for a while, but we'll be on there eventually. So our past shows will be available to watch. Discount code and all that stuff. We'll announce more of that later.
Right.
But if you watch the show and you want to see the moment I'm referring to, when level 1 becomes available to watch, it's the very last moment. The match ends. Everybody in the locker room comes out there banging on the ring.
Right.
It's just the sound. And that in that room, 30 sounded like 100. And then when you had the boys around the ring making all the noise, those two guys, Montero and Leader, laying in the ring, and at the end, he's going around shaking hands with everybody. He gets to me and he backs away from me because he's just like, "You get in the ring, I'm gonna hug you in the ring."
Right.
And I've never had kids,
Yep.
so I don't know if this is the right feeling. And I'm starting to get a little misty even thinking about it. But it was like watching my kids succeed.
That's awesome.
And that means the world to me.
Yeah. And that is something that, as a father of 3, it's an incredible feeling.
Yeah.
It is. While you're composing yourself, which is fantastic, I'm going to run down. So, Saturday night, August 31st, Proving Ground Level 5.
Yep.
It's at the Knights of Columbus in Peabody, Mass.
Yep.
One of the matches are the Ring of Honor star, brawler Brian Malonis, one half of the Bouncers.
Yep.
Takes on the so-called King of Monsters, Kevin Giles. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep, and he has been virtually undefeated since the Proving Ground opened up. There are a few. He lost a match because of unnecessary roughness towards Delilah Hayden.
Okay.
And and the one time he was ever pinned, his shoulder was actually up. So, but no, he's been pretty unstoppable since we
Nice.
started, and I think it's time we put him in there with someone who could stop him.
Yeah, and this is going to be a big brawl then for sure. It's
Absolutely.
going to be, no pun intended, Brian, because Brian is one of my favorite wrestlers. He really is. I love Brian. Also, for the Proving Ground Championship, your champion, the Ace, Mike Montero, will be defending against the PGOG. They have to mention Derek Conway.
The Proving Ground original, the Troll's favorite wrestler, Derek Conway.
Yep. McCheese loves him.
He's in that position because he earned it.
Yeah, but McCheese does love him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, let's put it this way. All
Not
right.
as much as you do, though.
Facebook McCheese and Twitter McCheese are two different
yeah,
people, and Twitter McCheese is actually entertaining sometimes.
Right.
So,
All right.
but no, these two have been very competitive, and I'd like to say, I'd like to make it sound like, I'm in character and I'm telling you a story. Like, no.
Right.
These two guys, one of them feels he's the man,
Yeah.
and the other one feels that the other guy is in his spot.
Right.
This is conversations I've had with the two men.
Right.
And I keep telling them, just go out there and prove it.
Yeah.
And they have an opportunity August 31st to
Nice.
show me and everybody else something, and we'll see what happens afterwards.
Nice. And the third match that is announced, you got King Leon the 6th. Well, I don't think it's a match because he proposed to Kareen Mink at the conclusion of level 3.
Yep.
And now the royal wedding is coming to Peabody.
And wouldn't you know, my invitation got lost in the
I was
mail.
going to say, I didn't even get one either, but I don't know the case.
Well, you got to remember, King Leon, in recent memories, he got my attention by beating me up while I was trying to do a tribute to my friend, and we have since clashed a number of times, and I'm not surprised he doesn't want to get back in the ring with me, so he's just going to go off and get married instead. He's going to cash his nuts in.
Yep.
On August 31st. So so get your tickets. It's gonna be a wrestling wedding. So
yeah. Ought to be interesting. They all are.
that's what they say.
All right, so name game. Okay, sound good?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Actually, you know what? There was one question that I don't know if
Yeah.
it got written down. Intergender wrestling.
Oh,
It's
actually, you know something? I saw that
It's
too late.
it's
before
just
left.
something
Yeah.
I want to bring up because a
Right.
lot of people, and it will make it quick. A lot of people are going like, we don't like intergender wrestling.
Right.
We don't like this. We don't like men hitting women and vice versa. And somebody put it to me, a much wiser person than myself. Somebody put it to me, the difference between domestic violence and intergender wrestling
Right.
is consent.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
Right.
Female athletes, they know what they're getting into, and you know what? And once again, you can ask her when she's on here. Delilah Hayden hit me harder than any other man I've ever been hit by.
Cool.
And I've been in the ring with Kevin Giles at least a dozen times.
Right.
It's a nightmare every time. But another, I've said that before, and somebody followed up and was like, well, what if the kids see that and think it's okay to hit women?
Right. Right.
To which I would have to argue, so it's okay for them to hit men?
Right.
You know,
I've always believed in that. I hate saying it, but I mean, I don't hit girls. But like, if a girl hits me, or hits a guy, should be able to hit him back. I'm sorry.
sure, but
Sorry.
the argument here is this. Our entire lives, we've loved wrestling. Wrestling has always been a man beating up another man.
Right.
Socially acceptable,
Yeah.
sure. Not something you want to teach young people.
No.
Which is why the problem here is not that wrestling promotions are putting women against men.
Right.
Or even men against men.
Yep.
It's bad parenting. Pay attention to what your kids are watching on the internet and on TV.
Yep.
If you don't feel, like if you have a child that you know is going to have some kind of a issue with this,
Right.
don't put them in front of that television.
Right.
Let them get to an age where they know the difference, and then make them watch. Let them watch it. You know what I mean? So it's like. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way.
Well, I have no problem in intergender matches as long as they look right. I'm sorry, but I went to the Limitless show and Ashley Vox wrestled MJF, and I honestly and truthfully didn't think she should have been in the ring with him. That's just me.
All right. Hey.
You know, I think it would have
Different strokes.
I think Davian would have made it a better match for me.
Okay.
You know, that's all. And Ashley Vox is great. I have nothing against her. I just didn't feel it. But I do not mind intergender matches.
All right.
All right. So how about we go with Brad Hollister?
Hey, I think he just got hurt.
Yeah, that's what
I was I was in the ring with him one time.
Yeah.
It was during a battle royal. I think I actually told the story on this show, but I'll quickly say it. He came into the Rumble, and he was throwing German suplexes at people, and I'm like looking at him throwing people around in different sizes, and I'm like, I'm gonna get me one of those. Like I want this. He comes over to me, he throws me a punch and moves on. I'm just like, no. At some point during the match, he's on a knee selling or whatever. I pick him up, I put him in the corner, I just lean in and go, duck the punch, give me one of them Germans, baby. Just like that.
Yep.
Must have been the creepiest thing ever. Anyway, up and over, right on my head. And I'm just like, beautiful. And then he got Giles. Strong man.
Oh, he really is. How about Doc Ozone?
Doc Ozone. In a world where we need to worry about our Earth, the Earth
Yep.
we live on, there is no greener man than I know
That's
than
for
Doc
sure.
Ozone.
Yes.
Every time I see him, he gives me a hug and a kiss. He's that
Yep.
kind of guy. He's
Right.
just super personal, super nice. I love him.
Yes.
I'm happy to see him every time I see him.
Nice. He's a great guy. How about he's coming up, he's booked on your show, and he's on your flyer. Brawler Brian Malonis.
I wrestled him last year, Yankee
Yeah.
Homecoming,
Okay.
and my shoulder has not been the same since because I gave him a Saito suplex. I remember I gave him a Saito suplex. I didn't move my arm. He landed on my arm, and he had like a Charlie horse in his lower
Right.
back. He's like, yeah, my lower back hurts a little bit. That kind of sucks. And I'm just like, yeah, no, your lower, yeah, absolutely. Hey, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just hanging by. Right now, I'm dealing with. I've got like a really bad like knot sitting on a nerve, so it's running from my neck down to my elbow. I can't.
Not good.
Anyway, I'll be wrestling at the Yankee Homecoming because I'm stupid. I'll make that announcement right now for anybody watching because it came up recently. It's a match people want to see apparently,
Right.
so I'm going to get in the ring with T Phoenix.
Nice.
I think it's been long enough. I think it's
Right.
time. So
Okay. How about Wild Man Congo?
got to wrestle him at Elkmania in April, I think, and he's scary good.
Yeah.
He's at. Funny story. You've seen him, right?
Oh yeah.
Big boy.
Very big.
We're sitting in the locker room, and we're talking, and I ask him, how much do you weigh? And he said, it was like 315. And I just looked at him and go, I have 15 pounds on you. Because I was 330 at the
Right,
time.
right.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to have to lift you then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yes.
definitely a big dude. How about Tony Spencer? Who'll be coming out in a few weeks.
Next.
All
No,
right.
I'm kidding.
All
He's
right.
one of my best friends.
Is he?
Yes. Yeah, I love him to death. He'll be one of the first action figures. Because I owed him money, and I said, do you want me to give you the money, or do you want me to just do the figure?
Yeah.
And he's like, do the figure. Do the dolly, please.
I'll always take the money, kid.
Okay, what are you doing in the wrestling business if you always take the
Right.
money?
Demon Ortiz.
Great guy.
I know you've been on a few shows with him recently. That's why.
I mean, I do production for APW. So.
Okay.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Intense as hell.
Yeah.
In there. Outside the ring, he's a teddy bear, but don't let him
tell
know I
anybody.
said that.
Right. All right. How about Jason Stewart, the announcer for APW?
Oh, Greenie.
The play-by-play guy.
First time I met him was in 1999. I went up to him. I thought he was Bo Douglas. So I'm like, you Bo Douglas? And he's like, No, and I thought he was playing with me.
They're best friends.
They at the time they kind of looked alike, or I don't know.
Right.
I was 17, so we got 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
And
What do you want to do?
let me see your list.
There you go. Talk about who you want them. Just cross them. Put a check next to them.
All right, let's see. Sonny Goodspeed is not Mayor McCheese.
Nope.
Jack Kruger was the reason I'm still in the wrestling business now.
Nice.
Tim Davidson is very underrated. Alexander Lee is wonderful. Who put Frank the Crank on here? He's a good guy. I'm
I
kidding.
think I put it on because somehow you were affiliated with him in a match or...
Yeah, we were in a 20-man match for NCW. And I talked about most of these people.
Yeah.
What am I going to say about Aaron Amadeus? Take this back. I don't need this. All right, so let me tell you a quick story. We got 2 minutes now,
Sounds
this
good.
is the abridged version. And a lot of people, this goes back to the whole Derek Conway thing.
Okay.
A lot of people ask, why do you care and keep booking Derek Conway? Because I met him at a time when I thought that my life as a wrestler was done. I was doing Elk Mania once a year, and that was it. I
Okay.
didn't have my projects anymore. I didn't have PZW. I finished that up. Mike Zarba, the gentleman who was murdered in the hit and run that Brandino talked about. He is pretty much the reason PG exists. And this is why.
Yeah.
He had a friend that ran another wrestling promotion. His name was Adam, and he ran a promotion called Nova. They did a Mike Zarba tribute tournament.
Yep.
And I said, they asked me to come down because I was his friend. I came down, I did the tournament. It was at that show that I met Derek Conway and Delilah and Stephen Lust and a handful of people. It was a couple weeks before Elk Mania, and I wanted to get a workout in, and I said, hey, why don't you guys just come down?
Right.
And we'll have some matches. And he brought Kevin Giles. And then we did it again, and they brought Stephen Lust, Stephen Broad, the metahuman supervillain Dick Lane, Tom Billington, Sean Leader. They just kept bringing these talented individuals through the door. And I said, we got to do something with this.
Yep.
And now we're here.
Nice.
So for anybody who says, why do you keep booking Derek Conway? Well, first of all, I think he's good.
Right. And he's your friend too, though.
And he's my friend. There's no lying about that. But I got friends that I won't book anymore.
No, I hear you.
But the fact of the matter is this, is like, he's my friend. I'm loyal to him. And at the same time, he's the reason that this all started.
Right.
And we just let the ball roll downhill together. So that's it. That's the abridged version of the story. I'm sure I'll tell a longer one later, but we got 30 seconds.
And Delilah will be able to come on here too and talk to us and, give her, like how she said it was misconstrued and I want her to be able to explain everything. Because like I said, I talked to her that day after it all went down. Very nice lady. Nice girl. Do it.
Oh, I'm doing it. 18 seconds. All right. Proving Ground, Level 5, August 31st at the Peabody Knights of Columbus, featuring, well, the 2 matches we've discussed already and a couple more that we haven't discussed, and the Dick Busters will be there. Be there.
Nice. Todd, thanks for coming on again.
Yeah, you know it.
We'll do it again soon. Peace.